Hello, everybody. I'm Julie Gelder from Topaz Health and Safety, and welcome to my podcast, Topaz Talks. And today I am talking to the wonderful Claire Taylor. Claire, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at the moment.
Yeah, Claire Taylor. My company is Raspberry Flamingo. There is a story behind the name, but I won't tell you about it now because not the time. But actually, I work from behind a laptop now. So I am a copywriter and content marketer. So I spend most of my time writing people's websites.
Wow.
And various online pieces of copy linked to websites and products and services.
That's fantastic. I'd like to, I suppose, I know a bit about your history, a little bit, and I suppose we're talking about the downfalls of working at height, because you weren't always a copywriter, were you?
I wasn't indeed.
What did you do before you were a copywriter?
So a number of years ago, I had a complete career change, and I decided to go into what I'd wanted to do when I was a teenager. Because it was one of those, if I don't do it now, I'm going to be too old, it's now or never moments. Wow. And I set up a decorating interior design company.
Fantastic. So how did that start? Did you just...
Yeah, I'd been self-employed for about 5 or 6 years, and I'd not really found my niche. I'd ended up working on a consultancy basis for a company who sent me all over the world to see their clients, and the trips were 3 days long. It was training courses. The trips were 3 days long. I was getting paid a ridiculous amount of money for those 3 days. And so basically I worked about 6 days a month. And
wow.
I was bored.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't really working for myself anymore, because I was delivering somebody else's training, and I didn't have any motivation to go out in between those trips and do anything.
Yeah,
I just lost myself completely, to be honest with you. So I sat down with my partner and we said, okay, let's change things up. And we wrote a huge list of everything I was interested in. And when he looked at my list, he said, never thought about that, but I suppose it makes sense because look at the house.
Yeah.
I said to him, what's standing out to you? And he said, being creative, decorating and design.
There it is.
And he just went, go for it. So I decided to do it.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah. So how long had you been a painter and decorator and interior designer for at the time of the accident that you had?
Just under a year.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was a real fledgling business, and it was going for it.
And I'd gone from me doing odd part-time bits of work. At the time of my accident, I'd got 5 lads on site with me, a girl on another job. We'd got 3 sites running each day.
Wow.
We'd got about 4 or 5 months worth of work in the diary. So it had just exploded.
Wow.
It literally went from nothing to 100 miles an hour. I was out of the house by 6, 7 o'clock every morning. Some days not until 10, 11 at night, because we were doing empty properties in the evening. So it was just madness.
That's crazy. That's a bit crazy, isn't it? Really, I suppose.
It had taken over my life.
Yeah. But wow, what a success in a way.
In a way, yeah. But I think something had to stop me.
Yeah. So on the day of your accident,
1:10 on a Monday.
So 1:10 on a Monday, and you were decorating a kitchen?
No,
was it kitchen?
No, we were actually decorating some escape rooms.
Right.
In a city centre. And it was a basement property under the high street. And I was wallpapering a castle room that was meant to be a Harry Potter escape room.
And so what were you doing? So you were decorating?
Yeah, wallpapering.
And what access equipment were you using?
We were literally, it was, it was a very straightforward building. There were hugely wide stairs going down from the high street, sort of 4 people wide, if you can imagine that sort of width. Quite a lot of stairs, probably 30 stairs down. But then it was completely flat and open and inside. The doorways had been made hugely wide for wheelchair access and things like that. So literally all we'd got was step ladders. Yeah. That's all we needed.
So tell me what happened.
So I took over from one of the other decorators in this room. He'd been in there before lunch. It was his step ladder in the room. I didn't think anything at all. I literally picked up a piece of paper, climbed the step ladder and started putting the paper on the wall. Yeah. Or leant forward to put the paper on the wall. I don't think I'd really put any of it on. I think it had just touched the wall. Right. When it happened. Yeah. Yeah.
So what happened?
So the platform on top of the step ladder, as I got to, I think it was the 4th step, the ambulance guy said I was 1.2 metres up. So I think it was the 4th step, about the height of a kitchen work surface. As I hit the 4th step and put my second foot on it, the platform sprung. So I don't know whether it lifted slightly. I don't know if it sort of expanded. I don't know exactly what happened. Yeah. But there was a feeling of the platform was going to come undone. Yeah. Basically. Yeah. That's how it felt. All I remember is looking down, and I'd stepped off the step ladder with my left leg. Oh. So I didn't fall backwards or sideways. I stepped off it from the 4th rung up. And so all my weight
was on your left.
Literally went through my left leg.
Oh, ouch.
I didn't feel my leg go. No. I remember my back going down. It was sort of slow motion by that point. Yeah. And then I remember my head smacking backwards and just that crack of my head on the floor. But I actually didn't feel my leg, thank goodness.
Oh, my Lord. That's it. I suppose it's utter shock, isn't it?
Yeah, I sort of propped myself up, almost sat up and tried to lift my leg up because I was laid at a funny angle on the floor. Yeah. And as I lifted my leg, it literally just flopped. Oh. So I knew that I'd gone through both bones. Yeah. Because there was just no stability in my leg at all. I couldn't do anything with it. I think I'd shouted. I don't think I screamed. I think I shouted as I went down. And obviously the step ladder, I tried to cling on to the step ladder as I was falling, and it fell with me. Yeah. So there was a huge crash. So the lads who were working on site with me came running in. And the main guy, who's sort of similar age to me and in charge of everything when I'm not there, he sort of just went, "Don't move. Yeah, just don't move. Yeah, we've got to get an ambulance. Just don't move." Yeah. So I never actually looked at my leg. Good. So yeah, the first shock I got was the X-ray.
Yeah, I just went. So with the step ladder, did you do any checks beforehand to see if it was working properly?
Just the normal checks. It just, you unfold it, you clip it into place. It's fine.
It works.
It was one of those faults that you could never have known until you hit that rung.
Yeah, yeah. So that step ladder, was it your step ladder?
No.
Right.
And apparently it did that.
Yes. Oh yeah, it does that, these things. Yeah. So I take it the ladder was skipped straight away then.
Yes. There was a joke about I owed him a new ladder, which you can imagine how that went down. Like a lead balloon. But yeah, the ladder was deceased.
Yeah. That's quite. What shocks me is the fact that he knew about the problem and didn't tell you, or didn't think to bin the ladder before he gave you and got a new ladder for himself. Yeah. So he didn't even think about himself. working on that ladder.
No, I mean, as far as I know, the platform didn't actually sort of disengage.
No, it just
did stay in place, but there was some sort of motion, and I don't know whether it was a lift or an expansion or what it was.
It was just a shock of that doing that, because you don't expect a ladder to do that, do you?
Exactly, because I was teetering forward to put wallpaper on the wall.
Yeah.
So I guess, it was just literally a shock. It was just, yeah, I'm doing all sorts of actions here that you can't tell I'm doing.
Oh, I don't know. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see it.
Yeah, if you're listening to it as a podcast.
Big hands going out like this. So, on the way into hospital, obviously in the ambulance and everything, and then you get to I suppose they take you to resus because it's quite a serious injury.
Well, it was really bizarre. It took a long time for them to be able to get enough pain control into me and settle my blood pressure or whatever it was. I don't know. I don't really remember all that too clearly, but I know it was a long time. They were actually, by the time they got me out of the building, there were 4 ambulance crew and a paramedic there.
Wow.
At one point there were 6, but 2 had to go.
Yeah.
They'd given me morphine, they'd given me gas and air, and I ended up with ketamine, which unfortunately slowed my heart rate down to the point they lost me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, everything went beautifully white. Honestly, if anybody listening, don't be afraid of dying. It is so gorgeous and peaceful and wonderful.
Wow.
It's the most peaceful feeling I've ever had in my life. And all I remember is a jolt.
Yeah.
And I remember, I don't know if I cried out or I moaned or something, and somebody said, we're going to get you into the ambulance as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But they had to take me over the tram tracks
and
the cobbles. So they said, this isn't going to be nice to get you to the ambulance. Anyway, they got me to the ambulance, and I remember sitting in the ambulance being hooked up to all these monitors thinking, surely they're just going to take me to the minor injuries unit. It's a broken leg. And then realising that the blue lights were on and the sirens, and we were going through red traffic lights, and we were heading to the main A&E, and I was sort of, wow, this is something more. And then I was rushed into resus, and it was just like you see on telly on 24 Hours in A&E, and just surrounded by people all talking to one another, and a nurse came and sat by me and just said, concentrate on me, just ignore what's going on, just concentrate on me.
Did they keep asking you your name and your date of birth?
Several times.
I remember that.
Yeah, what day it is.
Shut up. I told you 10 times already.
Yeah, but they were doing checks because I'd hit my head. They were sort of, what day is it? And asking all sorts of questions. And yeah, the ambulance crew were amazing. They actually hung around for a long time. Because they wanted to see the X-ray.
Yeah. You go, how many pieces is that leg in?
Yeah. It was in several.
Yeah. So tell us about the actual injury to your leg.
So just below my knee, I had 2 clean breaks. And then sort of a third of the way up from my ankle, I'd shattered both my tib and fib, and they were stacked on top of one another with the broken off bits floating around.
Oh my Lord.
So the X-ray was really quite shocking, because you've just got these 4 pieces of bone sat on top of one another.
So in effect, it was almost like a crush injury because it was broken that much.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. When they straightened it, there was a fair gap in the bones where it had to regrow. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So you obviously in hospital a long time.
Yeah, I had my operation the next morning.
Yeah.
And I had a external fixator frame put on. Because of the 2 top breaks, the frame had to go round the back of my knee and above. So that meant I couldn't bend my leg at all. So yes, I was in hospital for just over 4 weeks.
Wow.
Partly because they couldn't get the pain under control.
Yeah.
And they didn't understand why I was in so much pain, because I shouldn't have been with the frame on, but they didn't know they'd clipped a nerve.
Yeah.
So that was where a lot of the pain was coming from. Once the pain was under control, I learnt to walk again. There was a psychological battle there because I didn't want to put any weight on my leg.
No.
Literally, my brain was saying, do not put.
Yeah.
So I couldn't lift my good leg up. But to walk, I was sort of sliding it. And so it took me a good couple of weeks to master the art of walking on a walking frame and with the frame on my leg. Yeah.
Gosh, must be really frustrating as well.
It is, because you're totally out of control of your own progress.
Yeah.
You know, there were days when the physios didn't turn up on our ward, and that meant that I didn't get out of bed and I didn't try to walk because there was nobody there to allow me to. Which meant it set my progress back. Over weekends there were no physios, so it set your progress back. So it was, there were times when I was beyond frustrated. I really can't explain. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So, I suppose recovery, how long has it been since the accident?
So it was the 21st of August 2017.
And you're still undergoing rehab now, aren't you?
I've got physio this afternoon.
Yeah, so it's a long time.
A long time.
Did you, were you lucky enough to have medical insurance in terms of critical illness cover or anything like that? No. Wow.
No. Because it was such a new business, I'd sort of put off those sort of expenses. Yeah. Thinking, once I'm established and then, as I say, to just got so busy.
You didn't think about it?
It just wasn't even on my radar. Wow. So, yeah, I mean, I had to move to my father's because his house was originally a bungalow and he's still got a downstairs bedroom. And we had to, he was, what was he then, 86? Yeah. He had to sleep upstairs for the first time in his life. Oh. Bless him. So, I took over his downstairs bedroom and I was basically bedbound, other than getting up to do my exercises and things like that, for nearly 6 months. Wow. And then they changed the frame to a smaller one because the two top brakes had healed. Yes. So they put a smaller frame on for me. I think that was in the following, I did it in August, and I think it was the following March or May. I'm not entirely sure which. I had a smaller frame on.
I remember when you had Christmas lights on your frame.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the first Christmas. It took my friends 3 hours to get me up, showered, dressed. And I had to lay, this is terrible, I shouldn't be saying this to a health and safety person. I had to lay across the back seat of somebody's car. Really? Without a seatbelt on, because I couldn't bend my leg. Oh, no. So I couldn't go anywhere other than by ambulance. And I wanted to go out.
You just don't realise how debilitating that is, not being able to go out for that long,
Yeah, literally, I couldn't leave that bedroom other than to walk around the house on crutches. Yeah. Until, it was I'm pretty sure it was the May after I did it in the August. Wow. So, yeah.
That's, it's hard to... I think it's probably hard to express to everybody here how long that amount of time is before you could, really feel like you were a normal, back to normal in a way.
It wasn't even then. I was mobile then, but what had happened was, because those top two brakes had healed, they'd removed some pins through, or wires, whatever you want to call them, that go from one side of the frame through your leg to the other, and they'd removed 2 wires, and that had clipped the nerve again. Oh,
so you were still in a lot of pain.
I was on all sorts of pain-killing drugs and nerve-killing drugs, to the point I can't remember certain things. Yeah. People have been to visit me and I don't even remember them coming to visit me.
Out on the drugs.
Yeah, absolutely. and that was, I could start coming off the nerve tablets as soon as they changed the frame, but the painkillers had to stay because of the damage that had been done. So, yeah.
So are you off your painkillers now?
I am. I came off them at December 2018. I got finally clean.
But that's only a month ago. was it 2018?
18, sorry.
Right,
Oh,
sorry.
gosh, we're in 2020, aren't we?
Yeah.
It took me 2 months to come off them,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
a good 3 months to get over them.
Yeah. Because
it's
they
horrendous.
just mess with your head.
Yeah.
Something terrible, don't they?
Your head, your stomach,
Everything.
Yeah.
Not a good thing. And that's why they're, kept under lock and key.
Absolutely.
Things like tramadol and stuff, aren't they?
I was on maximum tramadol, maximum gabapentin.
Wow.
All sorts of things. Honestly, it was horrendous. Yeah.
So as you were getting better, you had that decision to make. Do you go back into painting and decorating, or do you do something else?
Yeah, it was a really tough one. My consultant had told me that I wasn't ever going to be able to climb a ladder again.
Right.
The guys that worked with me were keeping the business going.
Yeah.
I was sort of semi-dealing with enquiries if they came directly to me.
Yeah.
Through sort of Facebook or something like that, I'd respond and pass the inquiry on to them. But what I couldn't bring myself to do was just run the business and do the design element.
Yeah.
Because I'd done that, I'd designed a couple of schemes before my accident that they then went on to decorate after my accident.
Yeah.
And it just didn't feel right that I wasn't part of the whole process.
Yeah.
And that's a really personal thing to me. I know a lot of people would have said, yeah, I'll still go out and quote and run the business and do the designs, and that's absolutely fine. But for me, it just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And it took me months to come to peace with that decision.
Yeah.
Absolutely months. Yeah, it was a really, really tough decision. And I had no idea what I was going to do next.
No.
None.
So how did you get to being a copywriter?
Well, at the end of 2018, as I was coming off the drugs and things, my mind started clearing, and I started thinking, I'm going to have to earn some money.
Yeah.
And so I went back over everything I've ever done, and I started off working at an ad agency. Wherever I've worked, I've always been responsible for communications, staff newsletters. I've written bids for millions of pounds.
Yeah.
I've written admissions guides for universities, all sorts of things. Lots and lots of training courses over the years. I'm a qualified teacher. All sorts of things, and I just thought, what can I do with very limited mobility, because I didn't know then how quickly I was going to be mobile without crutches and things like that.
Yeah.
So what can I do from behind a laptop? I didn't want an online retail type business, an e-commerce type business. And when I look back, the one thing I'd enjoyed throughout every single job I'd had was the writing.
Yeah.
Absolutely the writing. And so I just thought, okay. And I contacted a few people in the networks I'd belonged to before and said, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Is there a market for it?
Yeah.
And I was given 3 pieces of work from that first message.
Wow.
And they took me a little while to complete, because I literally was able to concentrate for sort of 1 to 2 hours a day, if that. So it was a very slow start. But yeah, that's just how it came about, really. And then over this last year, I've honed into, where my specialism is and where the work that I enjoy doing is, and sort of more formulated a business plan now to move forward. Because really, when I started up, it was just what's out there, what can I do?
Yeah.
What have people got for me? So it's grown organically from there, but now, now it's a business, an established business, and it's planned and a formal thing. No, it's
fantastic. I mean, I really, I remember when the accident happened, and I just remember that first time when because I happened to be at the Elite Business Academy when you come along that first day. And you had your frame on,
right?
And I was like, "Wow!"
Yeah,
because I didn't know. I never normally go to Sheffield,
the
Sheffield one that you went to, and I was at Leeds, but it just so happened I was at Sheffield, and I just thought, you've got some guts. You've got real guts.
That day took, so as I say, it took them 3 hours to get me from getting out of bed into the car.
Yeah.
Putting the little fairy lights on around the frame took a good half hour. But anyway, what I didn't realise was how badly it was going to affect me.
Yeah.
Going out and doing that and socialising, and probably after being there an hour, it was enough. I stuck it out more or less to the end. But people came over to me that I'd had phone conversations with and sort of Facebook conversations with, and I didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
And they'd tell me the name, and I still couldn't put any context around them.
But you'd had a head injury as well, so it's understandable that you weren't going to feel right.
It was, but it really shocked me.
Yeah.
It really shocked me. And even at the beginning of 2018, as I set up the new business and started networking and things again, I got so little memory of some people.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to somebody, I don't feel like I've seen you for ages. And she said, I sat with you last month and had lunch.
Yeah.
And I'd got no memory of that. And memory from before the accident, slightly patchy.
Yeah.
The immediate few weeks before the accident. There are some things I seem to remember really clearly, and other things that just aren't there at all.
Yeah.
So it's slightly strange, and at first I was getting my words terribly mixed up.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Everybody was laughing at me because I was using the wrong words in sentences, and words would just come out in the wrong order. But that's getting better as well now.
Yeah.
So it's just a long process, which you would never think from being up the fourth rung of a step ladder that so much devastation could happen.
Yeah. This is it. I mean, I suppose where I come from as a health and safety consultant is things like working at height. It normally is the small falls that do the most damage. Mm-hmm. The health and safety executives say that, any fall above 900 millimetres, so that's less than a metre.
Yeah.
You can overturn and kill yourself.
Wow.
So being at 1.2 metres, you were pretty lucky in one respect, but obviously, the higher you are, the more damage you're going to do to your body in terms of different injuries. So you can never take working at height not seriously, no matter how
low you think you are.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You can break an ankle falling off one step.
Yeah.
So
I met people with frames on who'd fallen off a curb.
Exactly, because they fall funny and your ankle goes, and then it just it can shatter your ankle. And I think, as a I mean, I like to pride myself as a health and safety consultant, thinking of practical things, quick wins to make things safer. Because I don't want to see this sort of accident happening to anybody.
Absolutely. I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
No.
Honestly. I mean, it's been a horrific journey.
Yeah.
In other ways, it's been the most incredible journey.
Yeah.
Because I've learned so much about myself, and my view on life and things has changed, and there's been so many positives come out of it.
Yeah.
However, from an injury point of view and a mobility point of view, it's been horrendous.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Claire, for sharing your story with us today. What can I say? I just think you're fantastic, the way you've got over it. But it is a bit of a lesson to all of us that working at height is a dangerous thing.
Absolutely.
And we should take it very, very seriously.
Very seriously, because you just don't know. There's nothing I could have done to know that stepladder would do that.
No. And even today, HSE statistics from the last 12 months, slips, trips and falls, falls from height particularly, are still the number one cause of injuries and fatalities in the United Kingdom in all industries.
Wow.
So, it's still a massive issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you very much for coming today, and I wish you well with your ongoing physiotherapy and full recovery.
Thank you
very much.